Okay, we are ready.
Like 2 shifts.
Yes. I didn't mute that.
I hope it
We
works.
heard it all the way.
A
lot of people complain.
We are ready.
Ready? Okay.
Nothing.
That's easy.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting of the Madera County Arts Authority to order. And I would like to ask Mr. Wieland if you would lead us in the flag salute.
Sure. All right. Flag.
And one nation, indivisible.
Yay.
We're delayed. Seem to be having a little delay.
We can critique in real time. Almost.
Do all the words.
Yeah, but just not in the right order.
I think we're working with a new system here.
Good, thank you.
Good. I have a lot of patience. When I'm at my Rotary Club meeting, I'm one of the 2 people that have to do what you're doing and broadcast everything. Go right, post PDFs and all kinds of stuff. So. How was that? And I'm old.
Oh, I discovered the best rotary.
Oh, oh, yes. As it turned out. As it turned out. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming today. Additions to the agenda, items after the preparation of the agenda for which there is a need to take immediate action. We have one additional item to add, and that is setting dates and time for our meeting. We have one item to add to the agenda today, that is setting dates and times for the meeting for this year. Anything else to add to the agenda?
Nothing to add.
Okay, then public comment, members of the audience may address the board on items under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on those items. Public comment. Okay, then we'll move to the public session. Approval of the minutes. You've received the minutes for the November 28th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So move. I'll second.
Any discussion, corrections? Anything from the audience about the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I just had to look to you, Mr. Poitras, for.
There you.
I need your patience. I had to go to the DMV this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, you needed a nap too.
Yeah. Okay, reorganization of the board. So we have the nomination and selection of the chair of the board of directors. I'm open for nomination.
Are you willing to serve again?
I second that.
I guess so.
I'll turn my question into a motion.
This will be all one motion
Oh,
for
good.
all 4 nominations and selections.
Okay,
I heard somebody.
so we're nominating Julie O'Kane. There a nomination for the vice chair. That takes my place.
Who's the vice chair right now? Is that
Thought you were.
Chuck? Oh,
No, either Joetta or it's you.
But me, I thought Rob had both treasurer and vice president.
a
Oh,
while back I did, but I don't know.
I think we could
I-
spread the wealth.
I think Joetta would be fantastic.
Okay. Thank you.
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay, and then we need a nomination for secretary of the board. I think I've been doing that. No?
Yes, I'm recording secretary, but you're actually.
Oh, so
second.
you're,
I'm the recording secretary, yes.
okay,
So we have a title and separate worker bee.
okay. And then we have a treasurer,
Yes.
Mr. Poythress.
Mr. Poythress.
So
Okay,
I'll
great.
make the motions for the last two, secretary and treasurer jointly.
Can't you do them? Do we need to do them all four? Oh, I see.
All four
Okay.
together, please.
Yeah. So we've had nominations for all four of these positions. And there's been a second for all four of them. Now, is there any discussion? Any
We haven't had a second for all
I thought
four.
you did the last two.
No, I did the motions for those two. We don't have a
Oh,
second.
okay. I'm sorry. We need a second for the secretary and treasurer.
I'll make a motion.
I need some confirmation.
Okay.
We're going to vote on all four of them together. We're going to vote on the chair, vice chair, secretary,
Oh.
and treasurer all together. One motion.
One
and-
motion, 1 second.
Yes.
Okay.
One motion on
So we have four positions as stated. Is there a motion to approve the slate of officers?
I so moved.
Okay, Mr. Whelan moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Artemio seconds. Now, any discussion? Comments from the audience? Thank you. Okay, then I'll bring this back. Any discussion up here? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we added in here discussion and direction to establish terms of office. Is there term limits? The way this operates, as I recall,
Every year? One
Hmm?
year?
well, as I
Or
recall,
two?
the only person that we really appoint is the at-large position, the Mr. Whelan's position. The city council annually has a selection of their committee representatives for the various committees in town, and when they do their organization meeting. And then the same thing happens with the Board of Supervisors and the school district. So in the way we're formatted in our organization, the three entities that have the power are the county, the school district, and the city. So that's where those nominations and selections come from. I don't see us being able to change that. Unless,
So is this your roundabout way of saying you want to get rid of me? Because you do have power?
no, you'd be, yeah, right. You would be the only one we could ever get rid of. My nomination comes from the Arts Council. So, does anybody have a problem? Want to change anything? Suggest we look at something differently?
No?
No.
I think we're
We're
good.
here.
Yeah.
Until your own board says no. Okay,
Right.
great. So, okay, so that one's done. And then I added to talk about meeting dates for 2023. We have been meeting on the fourth Monday of the month, with the exclusion of, we don't meet in December. I see Mr. Salinas coming up to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Nick Salinas, Chief of Staff with Madera County. Before moving on to the next item, just a point of clarification on item 4B. That's discussion and direction for establishing the terms of the
Yeah.
officers you voted on. Simply, what that boils down to per the JPA dated March 5th, 2019. I'll read this verbatim. The terms of officers shall be established by the board annually. Staff's recommendation to the board would be to set your terms annually, as you would be renewing those every year. So I'm not sure we captured that in the previous motion for the clerk.
Okay, I just don't know how that fits with, we're like affirming then. The county board, the school district, and the city each have an annual meeting, and then they send their representatives to to us here.
Correct. And you establish the terms, chair, vice chair, and secretary. And we also need a date to correlate with that.
Oh, it's the terms of the officers.
Correct. Yes.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
separate issue.
Oh, man.
Yes,
I
it-
told you I spent too long at the DMV.
I understand.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Not a problem.
So terms of office, right now it is an annual reselection.
Oh, I moved 12 months from January, next January.
Okay, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion?
I was just gonna say that, yeah, the 1 year deal I think is good because it, if there was somebody that maybe should not be in that position or maybe wants to finish out a year, the next year and then not do it again, it gives them an opportunity, a regular time to move something or
Uh-huh.
whatever. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Any other comment? Is there any comment from the floor? Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. If there's no other discussion, all in favor of the year?
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Sorry for that confusion. Let me try to create more. The meeting dates for 23. We have established those in the past to be on the fourth Monday of the month, with the exclusion of December. We have chosen to leave the rest of the dates in with the idea that if we can cancel one, it's easier to cancel than it is to schedule a special meeting. So that's the process we've used in the past. And then I would like the board to entertain changing the time of start for the meeting to 3 o'clock. We've been established to start at 4. If we could move it back to 3 without hurting anybody schedule, I would appreciate it. So,
I have a question. So no meeting in December, right?
Right.
So it should be 11 meetings in the whole
Yeah.
year?
yes.
Okay. All right. And now you wanted to change it to early,
Mhm.
3 o'clock?
Right.
Okay, well, that will depend on the rest.
Okay.
I'm good.
So we need a motion.
I'll make the motion to move the meeting opening time or start time to 3 PM.
Second,
And wait a minute, you want, just before you second, do you want to also include the fourth Monday?
The fourth Monday of the month.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the motion is
Excluding December.
excluding December. So the motion would be to have 11 meetings on the fourth Monday of the month excluding December. And we would start the meetings at 3 o'clock. Okay, now, you want a second? Now, do you want to make the second?
second.
Second, okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, the treasurer's report. You received all of that information in the mail, so Mr. Poitras?
Yes, so we have 3 items on the treasurer's report. First of all, we have the Arts Authority treasurer's balance, and that is $70,279.89. And you can see the interest paid year to date, $35.89. And this is through 12/30 of 22. So we'll start, the next statement will be for the next year. And in terms of checks we need to approve, we have one warrant to be dispersed to Lozano Smith attorneys for $176, which is probably one of our lower amounts that we have had to pay. And then the last item would be a discussion and direction to authorize payment of a warrant in the amount of $5,400 to Ralph McKinnon CPA for accounting services for fiscal year 2019 and 2020. So we've got the 2 audited statements, and it's for the fiscal year ended 6/30 of 20 and 6/30 of 21.
Oh, it says
It says this, but it's the, yeah, it's year for 2019, but the
Oh, I see.
2019 year
I see.
ended,
Okay.
yeah, 6/30/20. So, as we can see, there's nothing in terms of, any issues. The auditor says that, he believes that in both statements that the, books have been performed in accordance with the county principles generally accepted in the United States of America and are presented fairly in all respects. And any questions?
I do. I don't know if you
Mhm.
can answer them.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to the auditor report, I start my questions with a statement that I'm not familiar, except in an extremely broad sense, with accounting principles. But I'm looking at two bills. Each one is for 18 hours. I don't have a problem with the hourly rate, but each is for 18 hours. And I look at this, the end result statements, and the only things that are different between the two reports are the one page in each report that talks about monies received and money spent. So we obviously have not received money on a regular basis in the last few years. We don't spend that much money. You present reports on a monthly basis as to what we do. I realize that the auditor's role is different than the treasurer. But when I look at 18 hours for 1 year and give the auditor the benefit of the doubt, not familiar with our organization, if you will, so it takes some time to do his statement. But his next statement here is basically exactly the same except for that one page. So being a person with curious mind, I have to ask, why does it take 18 hours each of these 2 years, especially the second year, if you know,
Right.
to generate this financial statement?
Yeah, it's, it's, gosh, it'd be a couple of days work, and I'm not sure that it really does, take them that long. We just kind of have to take his word for it. I think that the main thing is that on our Arts Authority, good or bad, we have to have an audited statement for legal purposes. And Mr. McInnes is, probably by at least, he's at least half, if not more, the cost of any other CPA as far as performing an audit. So, but I can't really opine or offer an explanation in terms of the 18 hours.
Is there a way we can get short written statement, if not an appearance? I know it's tax season. But can we get a short statement in writing for him if we were to put this off for a month?
Well, I'm not sure that what I would suggest is we go ahead and move with approving it and then ask him for a statement because in essence, nobody else is going to do it for that price. It is what it is. And I mean, he could give us an explanation, but I mean, if he put in 4 hours, it would still be $2,700. It's mainly because, he's one of the few people who does them. And, he has to put his license on the line. There's very few CPAs who actually, his size, that's by himself that actually even performs audits anymore. Jeff Blankenship doesn't perform audits. You would not find another CPA in Madera that performs audits. So.
Could I ask, Mr. Poitras, I can't remember from our agreement, do we have to have an audit every year? Or can we do it every other year?
Well, we can, why don't we ask, let's go to Lozano Smith and ask them
Yeah.
to opine on that. Because it's, basically, we're a government authority, and each government authority has to have an audited financial statement, as far as I know. And so, but yeah, that'd be a question to reach out to our council.
Yeah, just in case.
Mhm. Is it in
Um,
our bylaws?
Well, I'm trying to look, but maybe, but
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Nick Salinas, Chief of Staff with Madera County. To answer the first question, whether an audit is required or not, I don't have that information off the top of my head. I do recall county council mentioning we possibly could do it biannually.
right.
What I'd like to do is check the bylaws before affirming an answer there. And then to the primary question from Director Wieland, there's another component that ties into the financial reporting. It's a financial transactions report that goes to the state auditor's office. So perhaps there could be an additional sum of hours that Mr. McInnes is recouping. Second part to that one, your board has the authority to approve this as presented. Or two, we could seek to have Mr. McInnes either provide a statement or be present at our next meeting. And I'm happy to arrange either at the pleasure of the board.
Okay. You can check this out, but in the bylaws 6.06, under authority auditor, it does say there'll be an annual auditor of the authority. But then that's, and that is Mr. Poitras in our case, the treasurer. And then the auditor, with the approval of the board, shall contract with an independent certified public accountant or firm of certified public accountants to do the annual audit. Da, da, da. Then at the end, it says, the board, by unanimous vote, may replace an annual audit with a special audit covering a 2-year period. The auditor shall perform other such duties as set forth in the agreement or as specified by the board. So maybe it is time to ask the auditor if that's possible, and then maybe come back to us, and then the board could take some action.
Sure, and I'd still like to run it by legal or
Sure.
council.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was the direction I'm getting to? One, run that by legal, then two, seek to have Mr. McInnes present at our next.
Well, I don't know that he needs to be,
I don't think he
Present.
needs to be here either.
Just a statement, maybe a summary of hours.
No,
well,
now, what I hear from Mr. Poitras is that I'm sure he will correct me if on the rare occasion I might be wrong today. Since I'm interpreting him, we should look at this bill as a request for payment as to a flat fee. Pretty much not spend a lot of time looking at the 18. But if this is the minimum that can be done in Madera, it'd be more of a flat fee of $2,700 per year. If so, then I'd be comfortable with that. But when you have 18 hours for the first year and then the same 18 hours for the second year, and every page except the money page is the same, kind of begs the question that I asked. But I'm comfortable with a flat fee, and Mr. Poitras is represented.
but the other issue that's being raised is, do we have to do an audit every year? Or
Right.
could we do the audit every other year?
But that'd be for
Right.
another meeting.
I believe, I mean,
Yeah.
I believe that McInnes would do it. I think it's just a matter of ensuring, running it by council to make sure it's okay
Right.
to do that. But I'm sure that he would not object to doing that.
So Mr. Poitras, could you follow up with the interested parties? And
Yes.
come back next month with an update for us?
Yes.
Okay. And if you have some requested action for us, we do that then?
I can do that.
Okay. Is that good?
Well, we haven't done anything about either of the two bills before us. Unless I missed something.
Well, yeah, we have not, it was all, I was looking at one action. Yeah, so we've got the treasurer's report, we've got the 2 checks, and then we've got the direction to authorize the payment of the warrants to Ralph McInnes.
Right.
Well, I'll move that we pay the Lozano Smith attorneys at law request for payment in the amount of 170.
You would like us to do that in one motion?
One motion, please.
Okay, so could you add to your motion, the accepting the report from the treasurer oh, I see. So you're approving items 1 and 2. Your motion is to approve items 1 and 2.
Sure.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
Second,
Okay, so that's the approving the treasurer's report and paying Lozano Smith. That's the
Right.
motion. Okay, and there's a second? Any other discussion? Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. So I think we need to,
We've been requested to make one motion for all of these.
yes,
I'm willing, based on what I've already said, to amend my motion if that's possible. And the motion is, 1, we approve the report of the treasurer. 2, we pay Lozano Smith $176. And 3, we pay Ralph McKinnis CPA $5,400, which would be $2,700 for his fiscal year 2019 and then fiscal year 2020 report. And I say that from the perspective that I accept it as flat fee as opposed to what else it might
Okay.
represent.
because I think we're gonna have to pay that bill no matter what, so.
Mm.
Service has been provided.
Right.
Okay, now is there a second for that motion? Okay, so now we have a revised motion that includes approval of items 1, 2, and 3 in a second. Any other discussion of that? Any comment from the floor? Okay, all in favor?
aye,
Opposed? Motion carries. And then a note that next meeting, Mr. Poitras will come back with comments from legal counsel.
Yes.
And if there's a proposal about changing to a biannual audit.
Excellent.
Okay, great. Phew. Now we're going to move to item 4D, which is ad hoc committee report. Last month, we visited the historic library with Krista Riggs, and several of you were able to make it to that fine presentation and look at what is possible in upgrading the library. And then we also know that the county is looking at finding ways to pay for the reconstruction, rehab of the facility of the old library. And looking for the Arts Council to help with the refurbishment of the interior of that building. And so I invited Krista to come over today and give all of us kind of a review of what we know so far. And we want to talk a little bit about whether a partnership can be worked out with you. So you want to go ahead with your presentation first?
Sure,
Thank
yes. Yeah, good evening, Chair and members of the board. Krista Riggs, Library Director for Madera County. I do have a PowerPoint if we can. I thought I would just start with an overview of our strategic plan and annual review, I think, or annual report. I think I sent the files out to everyone, but I thought it wouldn't help since I already had this presentation from a Board of Supervisor meeting. And apologies to Supervisor Poitras, who's already seen some of it. I updated a bit at the end to speak directly to this project as well.
It's worth seeing again. It's really good.
Thank you. Let's see. Oops, I'm going too fast. Going by itself. Here we go. So in the fall of 2022, we finalized our strategic plan. We had community conversations in all 5 of the communities where we have brick and mortar library buildings to find out what the community sees as the purpose of the library, what they see as the biggest needs in their community, not necessarily connected to libraries. And then putting that together with input from my staff as well to form our plan for the next few years. And so from that, we came up with our new mission statement, which is Madera County Library strengthens communities by providing a place for everyone to connect, learn, and grow. And our vision is the library at the center of a thriving and connected community. And so from that, from the community conversations we had across the county, we came up with 4 main focus areas. The first one being teens and young adults. That's something that came up in just about every conversation we had, was that we reach young children and elementary school children very well. We seem to be doing well reaching adults and older adults, but teens and young adults tend to be where we lose our audience, and then it can be harder to get them back as adults. Reaching our rural and Spanish-speaking communities, that's an area we hope to continue increasing in. Improving our website and online presence, and then creating community resource hubs at our 5 buildings and our bookmobile. And the library has always served as a community resource hub, but in going around and talking with people, we heard a lot. We wish there was one place in the community where we could go and find information about resources and services available to us. And we thought, well, we do that already, but we obviously need to increase the awareness that that is something that libraries do. And so we've gotten a grant for that. I'll show you that in a second here. So from that, we did get a grant for our new bookmobile that rolled out last April. We're very proud of this. Since April, just from April through the end of June for last fiscal year, we had put over 1,000 miles on it. I can't remember exactly how many, but we have 4 regular stops, Raymond, Coarsegold, Lavina, and Cedar Creek. And as we increase staffing and figure out budgets, we hope to increase our stops on our routes as well to be able to reach even more people. We also got a grant from the American Library Association and the National Science Institute for a STEAM equity project at our Chowchilla branch. The main target audience for this is tween and teen girls, to increase their awareness of what's available in STEAM and STEM careers, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, and also to provide opportunities for them to see themselves in these opportunities. So it's not just these opportunities are out there, but here's some role models that, are like you, that had similar upbringings as you and have been successful in these careers. And so the grant includes traveling exhibits. We've had 2 so far at the Chowchilla Library, and then support for projects. Here, in the middle there, the teens are trying to see who can create the tallest structure that will still support weight. And this is our Community Connections project. This was also a grant from the state library. And again, this was to increase the awareness of libraries as community resource hubs. And that's our center there in Madera and also at Chowchilla. We have these at all 5 locations, and also materials for our bookmobile. We were able to continue the grant again this fiscal year. And one new wrinkle of this is that we're now able to have someone from workforce development on site at our libraries Monday through Friday for 2 hours a day at the Madera Library, and then Wednesdays for 4 hours in Oakhurst, which is wonderful because we had lost some of those services in Oakhurst. So this is a nice way to bring that back. These are our circulation trends from where we hit rock bottom with COVID in April 2020, shutting the doors. That's when I started my job. So that's why I'm measuring from there. You can see we've had a steady increase at each location. The big drop in September of 2020 in the mountains was the Creek Fire, unfortunately. But at all of our locations, we've had a nice steady climb that I'm very proud of. And then this chart here, it's a little hard to read, but this is the percent increase in circulation from fiscal year 2021 to last fiscal year 21-22. And so you can see, I know one of the things I was asked to talk about was how we're increasing a return to the downtown library. And you can see the downtown library, Madera Library, had the highest percent increase from the COVID year to the next fiscal year, almost 80%, over 75% of a increase in circulation. And I'm proud of our staff for working hard at that. Countywide, Madera does the highest circulation at 35%. Oakhurst is right behind at 34%. Chowchilla and the Ranchos are just about tied at 12%. And then North Fork has a very impressive reach in their community at 7% of the total countywide circulation. Oops, I just hopped backwards. I'm sorry. So one of the ways that we've helped to draw more people downtown, I'm very proud of my children's librarian. She planned this and put it all together and did a great job, was last June to kick off our summer reading program, which is one of our flagship programs. She organized a kickoff celebration in Courthouse Park, right across the street from the library. And we had booths from many different community organizations there, outdoor games. The bookmobile was there in the lower right corner, so people could get library cards and check things out. We signed kids up for the reading program and then encouraged them all. Now that you're signed up, visit the library and claim your prizes for keeping track of all of your reading. It was a really great event and one that we hope to continue again this year. So just to recap our current and upcoming initiatives that help to draw people to our downtown library is the community connections, especially our new partnership with Workforce Development. And we do have a small community garden on our patio that Mom's Group donated for us. It's a raised bed garden, and the kids are having a great time planting vegetables and flowers and learning about how things grow. We've also had partnerships with the master gardeners, not directly tied to that garden, but as informative programs, both in Madera and at our Oakhurst branch. Soon we'll be starting a Raising a Reader program, which is through a grant from First Five Madera County. And through this, we'll work with a lot of families and also different organizations and Head Starts and daycares to sign families up where each week they can pick up a bag full of books, a ready-made story time that they can take home, use as a tool to be their child's first and most important teacher, and then bring back to the library or to their daycare or Head Start facility to get a new bag of materials. We also have a whole bunch of story walk signs at our Madera library that we got through a grant, and we're just waiting for things to dry up a little bit and for spring to be here. And we will be installing one in Courthouse Park. If you don't know what story walks are, they're little signs, signposts. They're nice and sturdy and weather resistant. And we can put pages of a book, a picture book on the signs so that children and families can read a storybook together as they walk along a trail or a path. Another grant we have that I'm very excited about is to have a library of things, which a lot of libraries are doing across the country. And we sent out a survey to get community input on what kinds of things they would be interested in checking out from the library. This could be gardening tools, baking pans and equipment, mixers. We've had requests for telescopes and microscopes, and really the sky's the limit. So I'm excited to tally all of that information and make some wise purchases there. And then also through that same grant to get some maker equipment to be used in the library. This would be things such as a 3D printer, a laser engraver. We had a lot of fun with a sublimation printer where we can make photo mugs and t-shirts and different things by just heat transfer of images. And then the last part of that, I have written down here, law library. We are going to be absorbing the law library. They're going to be moving into the lower part of our library, just the back corner. And I'm excited about this because I think it will bring a new patronage to the library. Some local lawyers who have been using the law library will maybe now, hopefully they're already using the library, but if not, it'll be a new incentive for them to come in and get a library card. And it will also increase access for our general public to the materials in the law library. They might not be aware that those are available to them to use as well. So what's holding us back on all this is basically space. We have very little storage at the main library. We would love to have some study rooms. We have a beautiful big meeting room, but very often we have 1 or 2 people that want a quiet place to meet for tutoring or to do a Zoom interview, a Zoom phone call, and we don't have a good small space for people to meet to do that. And then just collaborative space where we can have more programming and connections without disturbing people that are in the library to read or study. And so for the renovation project, I think this is just my brainstorming. I'm eager to hear everybody else's ideas as well. Things to consider are the space of the historic library, who would go where and how would that work operationally? Staffing, of course. We do have a small staff, and so adding more space in a separate building would be a consideration as far as covering desks and making it. I think we could make it work, but it's just a matter of hours of operation and how that would work. Security is always a concern, especially if we open up that back patio as Jorge was dreaming and have kind of an art garden. And I love that idea, but how do we keep that safe and at all hours? And then the big one, of course, is cost, the cost of the renovations. I mentioned there is a grant that I'm interested in applying for. It's the Building Forward Infrastructure Grant from the California State Library. We were successful in the first round. That's where we got our $4.6 million for our North Fork Library. The only tricky part with that one is they're very specific on what is a library, what is defined as a library. And I think we could write it successfully. It just might take a little bit of making some of these decisions before we submit it. They haven't opened it up yet. They announced the new cycle of the grant will be opening up sometime in this first quarter of the calendar year, which is now, from here through March. So I'll keep my eyes open for that, and I'll keep you all informed of that and what the requirements are there. The other consideration also that I should have said before the cost of renovations is just programming and operations. As a public library, all of our programs are free and open to the public. And so if we are sharing space, there is just that consideration also of how would we make that work. I think it's possible. It just means we would need to figure that out before collaborating. I think that is all I have. But I am eager to hear thoughts and ideas.
Well, thank you for coming over. It's pretty exciting. There's lots of possibilities as, in terms of getting more people and maybe in terms of increasing space and for us to be able to work together on that. Just let me say at the beginning, the Arts Council last week formally approved working on developing a partnership with the county library to help us plan for and think about how we can work together to improve our
Wonderful.
services. So that's
Great.
good.
Yeah, that's good news.
Members of the board here, thoughts?
How do you reach out to people in the county to let them know what's available and how they can access it?
Sure. We've had a lot of success with social media. I know that's not the answer to everything, but we have had a good success rate with that, especially in Madera. We have a lot of followers and they do show up when we post things there. We also work with our partner organizations, like First Five, the Master Gardeners, the Animal Shelter, and help cross promote our services. Right now, we have a flyer up in the library about the animal shelters event at Petco and how they need more volunteers. Our county also has a great public information team that's a big help with spreading the word and using our community partners to get the word out. in the past, we've even used the, I think it's the tax bill, the property tax bill. That was before my time, but we get asked every year if we want to put something in the mailer that goes out. I have mixed feelings about that just because it might not be the most positive time for somebody to be looking at an advertisement if they're also looking at a bill, but it's a good way to reach a large amount of people.
Oh, the word free on that kind of stuffing would perhaps
true.
balance it out.
That's a good
Free
point.
public library.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good point. For our
The
book,
original free public library in the state of California. by the way.
yeah, that's a really good point. For our bookmobile, through the grant funds, we were able to just do a mass mailing also because we had some extra money for advertising where we worked with one of the printing shops in town and they already had addresses and we could pinpoint zip codes and just do a mass mailing there, which was nice.
Other thoughts, comments? Could you just briefly talk about the elements that make a library? If we were thinking about this grant for a renovation, what kinds of things would we need to make sure that building could do to qualify?
Sure, and I don't know the exact specifics that they
just-
outline in the grant.
generally.
Yeah, what I tell my staff, and it sounds cheesy, but I believe it with all my heart, is we're not in the book business, we're in the people business, and we're about providing free access to what people need. That might be a warm, dry place to stay for an afternoon. That might be information, that might be use of a computer. The state library, though, does have more. They need a certain number of books in the
Right.
collection. They need a
Mhm.
physical address. They need things like that. But I think having the buildings next to each other and writing it as this would be an expansion into an existing building that would still be connected to the services in the other building, I think we could write it successfully.
Do you need to have people working with you in a team to collaborate on that from the arts end or from the authority end?
I would definitely appreciate your input and your expertise. Yeah, but again, they won't open the cycle for a while, but we have a wonderful grant manager here in the county too, named Tristan, and he's a big help
Oh, yeah.
with writing grants. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think, we could get a good start on it and then maybe send it out for everyone's input. And
Okay,
I
that
want to
would,
make sure that we have the same vision and that we're,
that would be
yeah.
really helpful. Is there somebody from our board who's interested in kind of connecting up with this project in addition to the Arts Council?
Yeah, I'll give you my contact information, Crystal, when the meeting's over.
that would be great. Thank you.
Uh,
I do also need to get our general services team's input before I sign them up for anything, but I'm sure they
Right.
would be on board. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
They're a
Um,
great team.
Do you, I don't know if I should ask this publicly. What's your sense of the Madera County's interest in pursuing this grant?
The county as far as administration or as
Yeah.
far as the community?
Administration.
I think they would be all for it. That's what I'm saying. I have not talked with our general services team about it yet. I would just want to make sure that they're not overextended. That would be my only concern.
Right.
It's such a great place to work and such a great team that anything I've taken to anybody, I've just gotten a, yes, how can we help? And I love that so much.
Good.
But they are busy. There's a lot of projects going on. So I just want to make sure that I'm not,
Right,
signing them up for something if their workload is already at capacity.
right. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to find that out before. We've had experiences with getting down the road a few blocks and then finding out there really wasn't the commitment there. And
Yeah.
so I'd like to find out from the beginning.
Right,
And then what
definitely.
resources we can put together to get the grant in this case done.
Yeah,
This is like, to me, the perfect gift
mhm.
for the Arts Authority to bring more people downtown, to begin to establish the Arts Center as a centerpiece in Madera. I think this would be a huge step for us to include the old library and get ourselves expanding. So, and I had somebody yesterday stop me and say, hey, do you think they'd think of a children's museum as part of, this new partnership? Of course, I said, anything's possible.
Yeah, I would love that.
But I think there's ideas out there about what we could do, and this could really be a great next step for us.
Yeah, one of my favorite libraries, I might have mentioned this when we were all touring the historic one, but the Rancho Cucamonga Public Library down near Pasadena, their entire second floor is a children's museum that's connected to the library. And one of my friends was the library director when it got started. And I know it took years and years, but I love that they held on to that vision and they made it happen, which is wonderful. The good thing about this grant, if we do fit all the qualifications and requirements, is that it wouldn't have to happen overnight. With our North Fork grant, I believe it goes through 2026. So we have some breathing room as far as
Wow.
getting it done. Yeah, we don't want it to go too long, but it's nice to not have to get it done overnight as well.
I'm finding out nothing happens overnight
No.
when we're trying to make
Especially with-
progress on buildings.
Yeah, building materials and everything else.
Okay, so the grant details will be out in March.
Sometime this quarter, which is January through March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Other ideas?
So we are, right now we're in the surveying the community stage of that to find out what the community is interested in, and not just here, but at all 5 branches. But requests that we've gotten so far, if I can do this off the top of my head, telescopes, microscopes, gardening tools, bicycle tools to repair a bicycle. So we haven't narrowed it down yet to make those purchases, but the storage is the tricky part. That's the part we're trying to work through. I don't want to not do it because of the storage. We'll find a way to make it happen, but we will probably house most of it here in Madera and then have it be like our books where someone could request something at one of our other libraries and we would send it there through our delivery system.
Now, here's a thought, in a couple of months, the current occupants of the old government center, probation, and the district attorney's office will hopefully be moving into its new building. I presume this building is going to stay here for a while with a bunch of storage space. Somebody.
That's a great idea. Yeah, if we could make that work, that is a great idea. Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. This is just pretty exciting.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
if you can keep up with me, then I can make sure things go out to our board here,
Great.
or keep up with Karen. And, things
Mhm.
can come out to us. And then keep us up on what's happening with the regulations for this and then how we can help.
Wonderful.
Because I think having a team like us can be supportive of the grant as well.
Definitely.
And,
Yeah.
and that gives us great future purpose. So thank you.
Thank you. And if you think of anything else or have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me as well.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, item number 2, Mr. Core called a little while ago and said he wasn't going to be able to make it today. But we do have our Clean California grant in partnership with the city of Madera and Caltrans. They are working through and getting agreement with the city, through the city, on all of the various requirements that have to be in place and who's going to get the money and how it's going to be spent and everything. So they're working through those at the city council level. Then Jim is working on the art level, which is to identify the artists and then begin to submit the panels that the artist conceptions of what they would be putting out. There'll be a team of people who will be selecting the final artwork. And so all of that is kind of coming together. Okay. And it'll be right out here on that wall that's along the freeway, pretty much in front of the new Justice Hall. It'll be a combination of vines and artwork. So I think it's going to look nice. It's just been a slow process with the city trying to get their paperwork in order and getting their approvals. So that's coming along. And then on number 3, we have been approached by CASA, the court-appointed special advocates. They want to put a mural downtown Madera. And so I walked downtown with their director, their executive director. We did choose a place, and I was hoping that I'd be able to confirm that with you at this meeting, but there's been a little glitch with the owner of the building not being ready to commit to 10 years of a mural on the building because he might retire and sell the building. So this is a good process for us to go through. We're finding out what can go into the contract, what kind of agreements we have to have in order to get the mural done. But undaunted, we have another idea for another wall if that one doesn't work. So I'm supposed to go in with the director and talk to, in this case, George Buenarostro about would be the Duncan Scheid building, the side street wall of that building as our next option.
Now, what is the mural? Is it going to say CASA?
Yes.
Is it, yeah?
Yes.
And then how much are they talking about paying something per month or something or I mean, CASA, I mean, you said it's
CASA's
a contract.
Oh,
So,
the contract, no. Let's see. Basically, CASA will design it and pay for it.
okay,
The design has to be approved by the building owner, looked at by the city, make sure we don't have any, conflicts anywhere. And then they would go through the process of putting it up on the wall, and they would like it to stay there for a while because they're going to spend quite a bit of money to get that done. Okay. The building owner needs to agree that it's okay to paint their wall and the placement of it. And then of course the content of it. And then that's kind of it, because in this case for CASA, they're going to pay for it.
okay. And they want it downtown. Is that the idea?
They do. And she likes the idea that we're developing a mural district. And this would be a reason for people to walk through the alley and to, engage in activity downtown. And they're also going to also do a mural in Fresno at the mural district in Fresno. And so I think that's kind of a cool deal. And that's just another opportunity, but you have to have the official contract with people that says you're going to leave it on the building. You're not going to paint over it. Who's going to clean it? All that kind of stuff the details have to be worked out.
Thank you.
We've had other offers from building owners to do murals on their walls. So, I think that's an option that's coming along, but we're learning a lot with every one of these and every muralist we find. Anyway, that's coming along. If anybody wants to take charge of the mural project, please let me know. Okay, any member staff reports? Any ideas, anything you want on the next agenda? We'll have an auditor issue. We'll have an update on the grant process. Anything else? Oh.
I was just going to ask you on the grant process. I don't recall if Krista talked about, is there like a match or something with the grant or?
As I recall, there is a match,
Mhm.
but I don't remember what.
Okay. Because I think you asked earlier about the county, I guess in this case, the level of interest and so forth. And I mean, anytime it says grant, there's an interest, and then you get into the details, what's the
Right.
match and things of that sort. So, but anyway, I would say generally speaking, the board's been very supportive of
Yes.
the library system and, each supervisor, you've got, a library in various districts and anyway,
Right.
they've certainly been supported.
Right.
So,
And the county had, we met with Jay Varney from the county, a couple of months ago. very supportive of looking for a way to renovate that old library. This becomes a really nice option for that. We had lots of people come to our little open house at the last meeting, which shows, I think, some community interest in this, and certainly city, school district, and county interest. And now it's just a matter of which is the best way for us to go in terms of getting the money to do the work. And this issue of a partnership works well for us at the Arts Council because it can increase staffing, and it works well for them because then they have a place to have staff and additional program. So it could be a nice fit. But it's always all about the money. Renovating. As you can see, when you looked at the building, it needs a little work. Okay. Okay, anything else? Okay, well then, thank you all for coming, and we will see you next month. Meeting adjourned. I like having the little hammer. Phew.